welcome to Above Replacement Radio. I am your host, Chris Gianta. You know what Christy Mathewson wasn't worried about? SIERA. When you're thinking about Pedro Siriaco, I mean, the only one that can compete is maybe Hannes Wagner's 1908 season. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Curran.
Like, if we just clip together every time we've talked about him on other people's profiles, we've done a Mickey Cochran episode.
I can't get past Rabbit Marinville. It's not necessarily Hall of Fame. It's not necessarily above average, but we can guarantee you we are better than just the standard replacement level college sophomore.
And welcome to Above Replacement Radio, where we're talking baseball kind of whenever. I'm your host, Chris Gianta. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Curran. How you doing, Daniel?
Chris, I am doing very well. We had a historic milestone get accomplished on Sunday. That was really cool to see. And overall, just some good baseball. We got a dramatic change in the NL wild card, one that none of us saw coming, say, a month and a half ago. But it is getting interesting up in here. Yeah,
absolutely. A real sneak attack happening in the National League. Part of it is just complacency by one team, just kind of being blah for a month and a half. And then the other team is doing fairly well. But you mentioned, first off, the milestone. We preluded it. We preluded it a few episodes. We had it happen. We said Miguel Cabrera is going to get his 500th home run. And not a lot of people were saying that, but we had it happen.
The Vegas odds on if he would do it or not was like, I think it was 5,000 to 1.
Yeah. I'm not a betting man, but maybe I should start because I feel like I'm losing money not taking these bets.
Yeah. Some people said he wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But he did it. He hit his 500th career home run. It was in Toronto. Went to the opposite field. Kind of fitting because Miguel Cabrera has been a bit of a spray hitter through his career. So it makes sense that his 500th home run goes not pulled.
Yeah. He's a pure hitter, and went that way. And it was a high leverage situation. He tied the game in that situation.
Yeah, he did.
It is funny because milestone in a road stadium, especially like the Blue Jays are still somewhat in contention. Mm-hmm. So like he tied the game against them in a relatively important game. It's late in the season. They're kind of falling behind in the wild card, but Toronto's still like their natural instinct is to give him a standing ovation, even though he just tied the game.
Well, I mean, like it was like the third inning or whatever it was. Like it was early in the game to make it 1-1. Like it wasn't like he just hit like a ninth inning like go ahead home run.
Yeah, I thought it was the sixth inning.
Maybe it was, but either way, it wasn't that late in the game.
Yeah, it wasn't off. Like Brad Hand, 2 outs.
Ninth inning. Yeah. It is just like it happened on a Sunday afternoon too, when there was like 1,000 other games going on.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. When Tristan McKenzie was throwing his perfect game, or was in the middle of a perfect game in the 7th inning, we were talking to like with someone else too, like it would be hilarious if Miguel Cabrera got his 500th home run this way. It would be the at bat with the most eyes on it for sure.
Yeah.
Like that's because they don't really have any primetime games going on. But yeah, a big milestone being accomplished there. I found one stat. I was able to find one stat that I actually tweeted out just before recording. He became the first player in baseball history with a 310 plus career batting average, 2,900 plus career hits, and 500 plus career home runs. Pretty extraordinary. I would have thought someone else had done that, but Miguel Cabrera. How about that? So yeah, he's in a class of his own, and that 2,900 plus hits is going to be 3,000 plus hits.
Do we think
Probably,
so?
I think he's going to get 45 more, especially
Okay. Especially the fact that he has 4 years left on his deal.
yeah. He have 4
He is
years
a he
left?
is a 2 year vesting. He has a 2 year vesting option.
Oh, right. Right. So he has guaranteed at least 2 more years to
Yeah.
get 45
That would mean
hits.
he needs and plus the end of this year, he needs about 20 hits per year. I
Yeah.
think he could do it.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people are saying he's old, but I think he could hit at least 100 and get to that point.
It's possible. How many doubles does he need for 600? Because he's close to that as well, I believe. He
Um,
has 591 career doubles. He can get to 600 doubles.
all right. Well, I should take a look at how many have 500 home runs and 590 doubles.
You could probably
Um,
just say 600 doubles, assuming he gets there.
yeah. But yeah, yeah, Miguel Cabrera wildly he's the king of offensive statistics. He was kind of
Mhm.
the standard bearer for offense for about a decade. Yeah, he truly has been amazing throughout his career. Five, right now he's at 500 home runs, 591 doubles. Uh, he is along with Barry Bonds, Hank Aaron, or Henry Aaron, as he's referred to now. I think that was his preferred name. Albert Pujols and David Ortiz, actually. So he's one of five right now.
Pretty good.
Very good, yeah.
He also has 17 triples. He could get to 18, even though he hasn't hit a triple since 2016.
Now that one is to
That one might be 5,000 to 1 odds.
yeah.
He has not tripled since 2016.
Right. Um, yeah, let's who on this 500 home run, 590 double list has 17 plus triples?
Probably all of them.
Albert Pujols only has 16. So
He's one behind.
he's still active, so he's still got a shot. Henry Aaron had 98. Barry Bonds had
Yeah.
77. And
Barry Bonds played his whole career or at least most of his career in San Francisco, where they have Triples Alley out there.
yeah,
That
and
was what 90. What year did they build that stadium? Like 97 or something like that.
I think 2000.
Okay, but also he also had 500 stolen bases. Like he
Yeah,
was quick.
Barry Bonds was very fast. People forget because when you think of Barry Bonds, you think of 756.
It's very funny. Miguel Cabrera, like we're talking about his 500th home run, he still has not surpassed his home run count has not surpassed Barry Bonds' stolen base count.
Right. Yeah. Hasn't been able
That's
to
nuts.
work out.
But this is like the first, as a baseball fan, this is like my first I'm getting old moment. Like when I started watching baseball, Miguel Cabrera was the best hitter in the league, and now we're on milestone watch.
Yeah, I think the ultimate one for me was Wander Franco, but
That was that was one too.
that was
Yeah,
probably number one on the list. This is up there, but seeing Wander Franco get in there younger than us, that's
I mean for me, like I had that. I don't know. I had that Wander Franco moment when he became the top prospect, and I was like, oh, I am way older than him. This is weird. Now you look up and down that list. I mean, like Marcelo Meyer was born in like December of 2002.
right, yeah. And
Like now you just go up and down the prospects list, and there's a lot of people who are younger than us. It's getting worse and worse by the year. It's not getting any better from here. So
yeah. But then also when you look at them, they just look way more mature
Mhm.
and oh, it's like, oh yeah, that's just a professional athlete. That's not a guy who graduated 2 years before me.
Mhm.
Yeah, it still doesn't feel like it doesn't feel that real. All right. Yeah, so congratulations to Miguel Cabrera. I mean, yeah, one of the elite hitters in
like
baseball
an
history.
easy first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, easily for sure. Probably should get 90% of the 90% of the vote.
I don't know why you wouldn't vote for him.
Right. Yeah. I mean, but if we're playing the unanimous game,
Yeah.
who deserves unanimity? Cabrera at around 90%. I think that's pretty safe to say. That should be done. So yeah, big time shout out to him. And I think what should we talk about first? Should we talk about
Let's talk about the NL wildcard race because this is
Yeah.
taking a turn that we didn't expect.
Absolutely, for sure. So yeah, for context on the National League wild card, the Reds are currently a game ahead for that second wild card spot for the wild card game. So after June 30th, the Padres were 49-33 with a 6.5 game lead for the second wild card spot. This is all for context on how this has transpired, because this is pretty wild that it's kind of been a slow effect. It's kind of just crept up on us, but here we are. So yeah, Padres were 49-33 with a 6.5 game lead for the second wildcard spot after June 30th. At the same point, the Reds were 39-40, a game below 500, down 8.5 games in the wild card race. And now we are here. Padres, since the start of July, have a 19-25 record, and the Reds, since the start of July, have a 30-17 record. And we can get
This goes far beyond just the start of July. Since May 30th, the Padres have a 34-39 record. That is the fourth best in their division. Colorado Rockies are 38-34 since May 30th.
Mhm,
And
yeah.
the Reds, as you might imagine, are 47-29. That is the fourth best record in the National League, behind the Brewers, Giants, and Dodgers.
Mhm.
This is taking a turn. Like, this was it was essentially a lock that there's going to be two NL West teams in the wild card game. It was just a matter of who will snag the division and which two will face each other.
Yeah, absolutely. We were taking that situation, pretty much for granted with the way, the Padres were playing out of the gate, and the expectations we had for them. But this is just kind of emerged, I guess, to point out the Padres' greatest weaknesses and the Reds' greatest strengths. So the Padres' problem has been their starting pitching since the start of July, and this is kind of when we pointed out three Padres pitchers as slightly alarming.
Yeah.
With them being Blake Snell, Chris Paddock, and Yu Darvish. And this span kind of starts when Yu Darvish began his struggles. Since the start of July, their starter ERA is 5.92 and ranks last in the National League, with only the Orioles behind them in all of Major League Baseball. And then on the flip side, with the Reds, since the start of July, and I got the stat yesterday, I'm pretty sure it still stands, but since the start of July, their team OPS is the best in Major League Baseball. They've had the best offense, at least non-park adjusted, in Major League Baseball. It's been on the heels of guys like Joey Votto, Jonathan India, Jesse Winker. I think Kyle Farmer's gotten some impact in there. It's been a
From
pretty.
an offensive standpoint, the Reds don't get enough. Sorry, I'll let you finish that.
Oh, I didn't really have much left.
Okay, but from an offensive standpoint, I tweeted this recently, but the Reds don't get enough credit for, like, from an offensive perspective, adopting the new age of baseball. I think their team launch angle over in the month of August is like 17 degrees, which is pretty big. Like, it's a very large, and it's an increase from where it was before, like a big increase. Let me see. Their launch angle in the month. Okay, it's 16. It went down, but it was at 11 from April to July. which is a steep increase.
Their what was
Launch angle.
launch angle? Oh yeah.
Yeah. And they've
Y-
scored. I think they've scored more runs than everyone except for maybe the Rays in the month of August.
Yeah, and I would guess they probably have the most home runs.
Oh, definitely. I would
They've got
assume
to
that as
have
well.
they got to have the most home runs.
Which is like especially impressive considering it's a National League team.
Yeah. So like yeah, I mean there's a lot to get into cuz the Padres were kind of the kind of like America's team heading into the year.
Mm-hmm.
They grew so much in popularity last year with what they were able to do in that 60 game season. They had the second best record in the National League. They go out this past off season. They get Blake Snell. They get Yu Darvish, two of the better pitchers in Major League Baseball, and they get out of the gate pretty strong. It seems like they're in a 3-team race for the National League West. That's no longer really a thing, and now they're a game back in the wild card. And yeah, I think the biggest numbers wise, it's pretty obvious. We before the season we kind of predicted the Padres would have like a top 5 rotation in all of baseball. It's been pretty much the opposite. You could argue they've been like a bottom, one of the worst rotations, at least as of late in Major League Baseball.
And they just took action yesterday. They fired Larry Rothschild, their pitching coach. Kind of seems overdue.
Right? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what took him so long, considering over the last couple of months, it's been one of the worst rotations in the league. And we've the fact that Blake Snell has been struggling for a while. Yu Darvish has kind of been struggling for a while. Chris Paddock hasn't panned out. He hasn't been good really since 2019. Like this, I don't know. It felt like the writing was on the wall for a little too long before they actually did it.
True. Yeah. Yeah, when you have that amount of guys underperforming, I mean, I guess you have to take action. It is weird because you have no idea what goes on in these clubhouses. Oh, whoops.
What was that?
CBS Sports.
Oh, nice.
Shout out to Pete Davidson in this commercial here. I'm trying to look at if Dinelson Lamet has any progress going on. On August 21st, we have a report saying Lamet, in parentheses hip, which is his injury, through a bullpen session on Thursday per MLB.com. The right-hander had been on the shelf since August 12th while recovering from a hip infection, but he has now started to ramp back up in anticipation of a return. Lamet could be ready to rejoin the Padres at the beginning of September, and he is expected to pitch out of the bullpen once activated. So he's not going to be helping out that starting staff either. Yeah. It is weird. I don't know what goes on in Major League clubhouses. I don't know how much of their pitching is based on, the analytics department and how much of it is truly from pitching and bullpen coaches. So maybe it's just them kind of playing the blame game on Rothschild.
Well, Rothschild, like he's probably a more old school guy, right? Like he was on the Joe Girardi administration with the Yankees. Like he doesn't really strike me as, and I could be wrong. I don't know the guy, and I don't know if he's changed since joining the Padres. But like he does strike me as an old school type of guy.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that he was, because obviously I don't know every pitching coach out there. I had no idea he was the Padres pitching coach, and I was very surprised to see that he was that particular pitching coach, considering like Jace Tingler's their manager. He's more of a new school type of guy, and then you just have a guy like he was the pitching coach for the Yankees for like 10 years. I think he's got to be in his 60s or something like that. Yeah, not saying that age necessarily means old school, but there's more of a correlation there. So yeah, Padres definitely took action.
He's 67.
Yeah.
He pitched 8 1/3 innings in his major league career.
What was his ERA?
5.4 with a 6.84 FIP.
Oh wow, he was getting lucky.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, Padres clearly addressing that problem somewhat. I mean, you know, I don't know how much of an effect that will have on field performance. I mean, some of it has to do with, your number one guy from last year has only pitched 34 innings this year.
Yeah. I mean, like it's all been underperforming and injuries, like Dinelson Lamet, like Mike Clevenger, obviously, was hurt as well.
Yep. Yu Darvish is currently on the IL, but only for a
Like
very
the only
short
the
stint.
only like sustainable positive in the rotation has been Joe Musgrove.
Yeah, yeah, we haven't given him too much love, but yeah, he's been kind of low threes ERA currently, and he's been kind of carrying the way um unintentionally. At one point you could comfortably say Darvish was the ace of the staff, but he's fell off in his last 7 starts.
Yeah,
Um,
that is correct.
yeah, so Musgrove just kind of becomes your horse now, oddly enough. It hasn't been an issue with their offense. It hasn't been an issue with their bullpen. They have been kind of going the same way they had been before this skid, but now, but yeah, it's a lot to do with starting pitching. Um, the Reds, I mean, in a more old school season, I think Joey Votto would be getting a good amount of like MVP consideration
I think he
considering the
still should
turnaround.
be. Like I
Yeah,
think he like I mean like what most of the other National League MVP candidates have kind of like gotten hurt or fallen off. Like Tatis, I mean I still think Tatis could win it, but he fell off. He got hurt. DeGrom fell off. I mean who else?
um, Acuna.
Acuna Acuna got hurt. Yeah, like it's been like Joey Votto very well could. It'd be very cool to see him win an MVP in 2010 and 2021. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility, honestly.
Right, yeah. That would be tied for the most amount of time between MVPs, like one MVP and the next MVP, because Willie Mays did it in 54 and 65. Episode 36, everyone. But yeah, that would be really cool. And also, yeah, that was a fun couple days when we were talking about Bryce Harper as the MVP, and then the Phillies just
Yep.
fell completely off.
They got swept by the Diamondbacks. That's tough. Joey Votto, like, I'm trying to find exactly what articles it's from, but like, he's been on the record saying like he looks at analytics like on his own time and he uses it to try to improve his game, and it's clearly working.
Yeah, there's a foolish baseball video where there was like a 10-second snippet where Votto like mentioned Baseball Savant, where he's like, when you look at the Baseball Savant stuff, it's really, and it was like,
Yeah.
wow, it's like if one of us had the ability to hit 450-foot tanks and get on base 40% of the time. It's pretty much
Yeah.
like that. That's really cool.
But I mean, like we were talking about his prime being over like not that long ago, and like he's just completely revitalized his entire career.
Yeah, and we weren't not justified in saying that.
Like he has his third best career single season slugging percentage right now at 575. The only seasons where he's had a higher slugging were 2010 and 2017.
Yeah.
Well, like you could argue both of those seasons he should have won MVP instead of just one of them.
Yeah, 2010 he won MVP. 2017 he was runner up, right?
He was runner up to Stanton, who had 59 home runs.
Yeah.
That's what it took to beat 33-year-old Joey Votto.
Yeah, wow.
On a lost cause of a team too.
Yeah, he's just been revitalizing himself. He's 97 he's still, according to xWOBA, he's still getting unlucky. He has 14 more points of xWOBA than WOBA. He's
In defense, his walk rate isn't as high, so I would probably expect that. His walk rate is 12.9%, which is 3% below his career average.
Yeah, his expected, yeah, that's pretty wild. His expected slugging is his career high by a lot. His and this is also from 2015 on, but that includes 2017, which you mentioned. 2017 he had a 553 expected slugging. This year he's got a 609 expected slugging.
Pretty good.
Yeah, very, very good. We should review like when this started and like what he's been doing, because I would imagine he's the leader in like F WAR since.
Oh yeah, he leads. This I was looking at my how about that, and he leads weighted runs. Joey Votto leads weighted runs created plus in the sample that I used for my how about that, and my how about that was second.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't want to reveal the date just because I want to save that, but yeah, it's at least a month. I'll say that.
Right.
So, yeah,
July 2nd on, Joey Votto hitting 319 with an 1152 OPS, 47 RBI in 45 games. And yeah, I would imagine if we head over to baseball or baseball Fangraphs, great website.
Very good website indeed. I would agree.
If you want to get some baseball stats, that's a good place to go. Yeah, Joey Votto, leader in F WAR since July 2nd, or you could probably just say start of July if we want to do that. But yeah, he's definitely been like second half MVP, and he's Reds aren't in this position without Joey Votto.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, and then also in their offense, Jonathan India has been doing great. Jesse Winker, he's
come back from the injury
after the slightly alarming has been just about the same as he was before.
I think he's on the IL right now though. Mike
really?
Moustakas I think Mike Moustakas just came back though. He homered on Sunday. Yeah, Jesse Winker is currently on the 10-day IL.
Yeah, Kyle Farmer doing very well, and Luis Castillo. He was a slightly alarming back in like April or May, but he has really turned it around, and his luck has turned around for sure. He was one of the more unlucky pitchers in baseball, and that's changed. So yeah, because they're starting pitching, I believe, they're starting pitching since the start of July. I think they're they might be sixth in all of Major League Baseball. I might have to double check that.
Go ahead and look.
Yeah, because their bullpen has been kind of their bullpen. It's been like middle of the pack to below average, but their starting pitching has been looking more like it was looking last year, because we talked about that was probably their biggest strength of last year.
Yeah.
And obviously they lost a guy. Yeah, let's take a look here. They're sixth in Major League Baseball in starter ERA with a 3.53 starter ERA since the start of July, and 4.15 FIP, which even that is I think above average in the span. So yeah, the Reds and Padres have gone in two different directions steadily for the past couple months and change. And now we're here. And also, actually, what I forgot to mention, strength of schedule. I believe I looked it up. People have tweeted it out. Padres, I think, have the hardest schedule.
Dude, they have a ridiculous schedule.
Yeah, the Padres have the hardest schedule upcoming, and the Reds have the second easiest.
Let me pull this up.
The exact opposite, because like I figured
Yeah.
the Reds were facing like easier teams, but
No, I saw the Padres schedule like a couple weeks ago, and like they have no mercy going forward. So they just finished up a series with the Phillies, who, they were a playoff caliber team, and now the Braves have picked themselves up. So I don't know. That seems more and more unlikely by the day. But regardless, it's a good team. They play
Yeah.
the Dodgers this week, and then they go to Anaheim to face the Angels, and then at the end of the month they face the Diamondbacks. It's basically the only easy team they have left. And then they face the Astros at Petco. Then they face the Angels at Petco. Then they go out to LA to face the Dodgers. Then they have 4 against the Giants in San Francisco. Then they have 3 against the Cardinals, who have played better, in St. Louis. Then they have 3 against the Giants at home, and then they have uh, and then they have a 4 against the Braves, with one of them being a suspended game, and then they finish with 3 against the Dodgers. Oh no, and then I'm sorry, then they go into October, then they finish with 3 against the Giants in San Francisco.
oh yeah, they better hope that last
Like
series.
the worst team they face, other than that one series against the Diamondbacks, is like the Angels or the Cardinals.
Yeah, which are still respectable franchises.
Yeah, everyone else is playoff caliber.
They better hope the Giants have the NL West wrapped up by the last
Mhm.
series.
Mm-hmm.
they
I
should
mean,
hope
even
that.
then, they might need to fight for the best record in the league.
Right, yeah, and get that 1 seed for the potential championship series, and World Series now.
Which I guess the Dodgers might be, like, if they clinch the division, the Dodgers might be the second best team anyway. So, but it depends on
True,
the Brewers, really.
true. And
But
then
still, the Padres just, I mean, they are no mercy in this schedule whatsoever.
on the flip side, we have the Reds, who I believe it would still stand. They have the second easiest schedule from here on out. They are about to face Milwaukee, which is a tough test for sure. Then they go to Miami. They and then after that, it's 3 games against St. Louis at home, 3 games against Detroit at home. Then they go to Chicago to face the Cubs on the road. I mean, they've been a disaster since the trade deadline. So that's even worse than like the Cubs are right now are a worse representative than what their overall record says.
They're
Because of
like
the,
right around like with the Pirates over the last like couple months as far as record. I think I was looking at the since May 30th stats for the Padres. The Pirates have a better record than the Cubs since
oh
that
my
date.
God.
Yeah, that's where we're at.
So yeah, that the Reds facing the Cubs there, that should be good for the Reds. Then after that, it's another series against St. Louis. After that, they go to Pittsburgh. As we mentioned, Pittsburgh, not the standard for success. Then the Reds face the Dodgers, but it is at home. So that's an advantage for the Reds a little bit. Then they face Pittsburgh at home, then Washington at home. Washington has been right down there with the Cubs since the trade deadline in terms of being bad. And then Cincinnati is at guaranteed rate field to face the White Sox for only 2 games. And then the Reds finish out their season in Pittsburgh. They have, I think, 9 games against Pittsburgh still remaining. Yeah, it is funny. Yeah, the last year, like the Padres, if they're not tied or have a lead heading into the final series, because the Padres final series of the year is in San Francisco, you said, right?
Yes,
The the
they still have a 10 against the Giants.
yeah, the Reds, meanwhile, their final series is against Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So
Like what does Fangraphs have as like the playoff odds right now?
that's a good question. I mean, I'm probably favoring the Reds right now,
I would be too.
you know, unless this Padres rotation can turn it around.
Where do I go on Fangraphs to find the playoff projections?
I always forget. I always seem
I
to
do too.
forget.
I know how to get baseball references, but not Fangraphs.
Um, like teams, I can't find anything there.
Standings? Oh, standings. Okay. 20, it's in standings. The 2021 playoff odds. As of right now, on August 24th, the Padres have a 0% chance to win the division, and they have a 26.3% chance to make the playoffs. The Reds have a 64% chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
It is dramatically favoring the Reds.
Yeah. Yeah. And it should be. Yeah. Based on schedule, based on momentum. That's how
Yeah.
it should be.
That is wild.
So yeah, I mean, it would be odd to see the Padres after all. Like the Padres have been hyped up pretty much nonstop since like mid-August of last year.
Mm-hmm.
And to see that kind of derailed this year would be something else. And I would take satisfaction because it was only a me thing, but there were in like every MLB reply in like the off season, there would be a load of Padres fans saying the Dodgers championship was fake because of a 60-game season. But it's also ironic because the Padres probably benefited most from the 60-game season. Like they weren't supposed to have the second best team in the National League.
Yeah.
But it would be funny to see them not make the playoffs in a full season.
It's all been downhill since those guys made that music video.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Outside of a good like April and
including playoffs, since that video was released, the Padres are 68-61.
Oh wow.
Which is like, I mean, cool, man. Like you're above 500.
Yeah, with one of the most active GMs out there.
With a guy who's like a 3-time offseason champion.
Yeah. Right. But yeah, I mean, if the Padres don't make it this year, I mean, the one positive is they have plenty of more opportunities with their given roster, but it would be very disappointing for them after all the hype that surrounded them after this past off season and even after last season. And
it would suck. I would suck to not see Tatis in the playoffs. Like I would actually be upset at that.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it would suck not to see a Dodgers Padres wild card game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not that pumped about Dodgers Reds in Dodger Stadium.
Hear me out. There's got to be a situation. Let's just say we get a Dodgers Reds playoff game, in Los Angeles. Some Reds fans got to take one for the team and like break his leg or something as soon as Nick Castellanos comes up to bat every single time.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I did see since the start of July, I think Castellanos has like a below 800 OPS, and I was like, well, tragedies have been down recently.
Yeah,
for the most part.
Nothing bad has happened.
Yeah, when Nick Castellanos is struggling, you know the world is in a good place.
Yeah, world peace could be achieved, and Nick Castellanos would have like a negative weighted runs created plus.
Yeah.
There was a fan who fell out of the stands at, I think it was like Dodger Stadium, and passed away. And then on the Twitter timeline, immediately next to that was the MLB home run bot that tweeted Castellanos.
Yeah, like you can't make that up.
Oh no, it was at Citi Field. Yeah, man found dead at New York Mets Stadium. Nick Castellanos, Cincinnati Reds, 22 2-run.
And then
the same thing happened with when Jack Morris was under fire for saying he did something dumb. I'm not gonna say what it was, but like he did something dumb on the broadcast regarding Shohei Ohtani. By the way, why do people say the stupidest stuff with Shohei Ohtani? Shohei Ohtani's just trying to exist, and everyone's getting into controversy. Like all media members, I swear to God.
I'm trying to think of
Stephen A. Smith.
Oh yeah, Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
don't
the
know.
that's the main other one.
I wonder what I wonder what happened like when Ichiro was coming up.
Well, that was just like Rob Dibble being like he won't win the batting title.
Yeah, that was just normal stuff.
Yeah, that was just Rob Dibble, doing his thing.
Yeah, shout out to the Nasty Boys. Um, yeah, I guess I think we covered
Covered
that,
everything. Yeah.
covered all that there. Um, very interesting, especially with the strength of schedule stuff. I would have thought that maybe the Reds have been benefiting from poor scheduling and the Padres have been benefiting from tough scheduling as of late, but it's not getting any easier for the Padres for sure. And statistically speaking, it shouldn't be getting much harder for the Reds. So probably one of the more interesting developments this season thus far. All right, so last thing to address. We talk about scoreboard watch. We're close to history here. The Orioles have lost 18 games in a row, and they are 6 away from breaking the modern era record, and 4 away from breaking the franchise record when they, of course, in 1988 when they started 0-21. So yeah, they've lost 18 in a row. Their team ERA in the span is 8.24. No one is within, I think, a run and a half of that. Yeah, it's been pretty historically bad. And we've talked about how the AL East has been kind of a carousel of beating the crap out of the Orioles, and it's almost making history in how bad they've been.
Funny. So the Orioles, this doesn't get talked about enough. The Orioles from 2018 to now probably have the best example of like the negative effects on tanking in baseball probably ever. Like even right now, like you don't like when the Astros were this far into this tank, like you at least had like Ben Ryder writing about like the 2017 World Champs in 2014. And like yeah, the Orioles do have a good farm, but it's like right now it's hard for me to picture them winning, even with Adley Rushman, even with all the guys that they have coming up in the future. Like it's gonna take those guys time to develop. And here's probably the most staggering thing. Since the start of 2019, do you want to guess the amount of players the Orioles have had with guaranteed salaries?
How many players they have with guaranteed salaries?
Like
At
not
what,
like
at-
past arbitration.
yeah, at what point?
Yeah. Since 2019. So the last 3 seasons.
I'm gonna guess 4.
It's 6. You did undershoot, but still. I mean 6 players over 3 seasons. Chris Davis, Alex Cobb, Mark Trumbo, Jose Iglesias, Wade LeBlanc, Matt Harvey. And Matt Harvey is the only one this year, by the way. This year, he is the only player with a guaranteed salary of 1 year, 1 million.
Yeah, that's wild.
Like Chris Davis retired. They traded Freddie Galvis. They just DFA'd Mike Alfranco. Like Matt Harvey's the only person left on this team with a guaranteed salary. Meanwhile, Trey Mancini, Pedro Severino, and Anthony Santander are the only ones that are ARB eligible this year. And then John Means, Jorge Lopez, Paul Fry, and then Tanner Scar will begin ARB1 this year.
Yeah, and
They have a payroll of $63 million,
right.
which is like the MLB just discussed like a potential proposal for a salary floor. They would have to add $37 million to that.
Yeah,
They
they're
would
bringing
have
back
to,
they're bringing back Gossman.
yeah, exactly.
They just bring back one guy instead of like maybe 5 decent players.
That proposal looked good and all, but then they were like, oh yeah, there's also going to be another tax for teams spending more than 180.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which like that kind of ruins the whole purpose of what you're trying to get done.
Yeah, it's weird to like. I mean, I guess the NFL does that well, but I don't. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of making it of just discouraging being as competitive as you can possibly be.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, the tax would be at like 180 million.
Yep.
Uh,
What's the current?
it's like
What is the
210.
current luxury tax number?
It changes every year based on
Yeah.
like inflation or whatever. And I think it's 210 probably.
The Dodgers are at 282 this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand having the luxury tax. I don't think it's a bad thing, but I mean, when you have $180 million, like that, teams are gonna get discouraged from from spending. Like that's not gonna be good at all, really.
Yeah, it's hard to do that. I would imagine like with the NFL, and you kind of have to compare it to different leagues because that's really all you can compare it to. I did not realize, by the way, that the Orioles have another guy top 10 in the
Yeah,
MLB top 100.
Grayson Rodriguez.
Yeah, I did not realize that.
He's been big this year.
Um,
Baseball America ranked them as the second best farm system in baseball.
well, at least there's that.
There is that, but I mean, like those guys are gonna take time to develop, and even when they do, like, do we trust that the front office will be able to spend on the pieces that will be able to support those players?
Right, yeah, exactly.
It's difficult. I mean, I guess the only defense to that is that their current GM came straight from Houston, so maybe that is a little encouraging because they obviously spent on players during their peak years.
Um, yeah, that is true. And they kind of built them and the Dodgers kind of built a model of um developing player development and then being able to add fill the missing holes or fill the holes that the players you developed didn't fill. Like,
There's this narrative with the Dodgers that all they do is like they just spend on the best players, and like that is definitely true to a degree. But like look up and down the roster, and you'll see so many guys that they took that have severely outperformed with their expectations when they went to the Dodgers. Like Max Muncy is a literal like MVP candidate. He's also an NL MVP candidate, very overlooked all year. Uh, Chris Taylor was just a random guy in Seattle who it was literally a how about that of mine this year. Justin Turner was released by like the Mets, the Orioles. Like they not only do they spend a lot, but they also like end up working out a lot on guys who have low expectations coming into LA.
oh yeah, for sure. Like
Like
they
that's something that is not talked about enough. Is like the Dodgers do an extremely good job of that too.
yeah, they're very good at transforming players. Yeah, like
Hmm.
Muncy was just kind of a guy that didn't work out in Oakland.
Hmm.
Turner was a guy who didn't work out with the Mets, and Taylor I didn't know was from
Seattle.
Seattle or the
Yep.
Mariners organization. And then yeah, they have homegrown guys that obviously have worked out. Will Smith, Clayton Kershaw, Corey Seager, Cody Bellinger, just
Yeah.
up and down the list. There's homegrown players that have worked out for the Dodgers, and then eventually,
And even Kenley too.
yeah, Kenley Jansen,
Walker Bueller.
Bueller, yeah, how could I forget Bueller?
Yeah. And then, everyone looks at, oh, but like Trey Turner, Mookie Betts, Trevor Bauer, David Price, Max Scherzer,
Right, yeah, it's just
AJ Pollock.
like if for some reason they had like $180 million um like cap, they'd still do pretty well, I would imagine.
Justin May too. We didn't even mention him. He's hurt, and that's why.
Yeah, Dustin May, like it's rare to see kind of a Dodger come up and not work out. Like even he has time, but Gavin Lux hasn't worked out, but he could
Hmm.
still develop into something very, very good as well.
Yeah. And they
Um,
also, I mean, in the case of Gavin Lux, they also didn't trade him for Felipe Vasquez, which, I assume they didn't know, about that, but that was a trade that was almost made, and the Dodgers said, no, we're gonna keep this guy.
right. They know kind of when to when to go aggressively and when not to. But back to Baltimore. Yeah, I mean, this is going this is going kind of all over the place. But yeah, Baltimore, they have four prospects in the top. They have four prospects in the top 100 on according to MLB.com. They've got two in the top 8, which is good for them. And as you mentioned, according to Baseball America, they have the second best farm system, right?
Yes, behind the Mariners.
Yeah, they're yeah, they have a something developing over there. I'm like a few years ago that was not the case. They were one of the worst teams and had one of the worst farm systems as well. Yeah, and yeah,
It's a
they're
matter of how well they can translate to the major league level, which that's obviously a crapshoot. Doesn't always work out, but we'll have to see.
yeah. So they've lost 18 in a row. We gotta look at their upcoming schedule, see when their next win might be. Maybe it's tonight. Maybe we just all that had to happen was us addressing them.
Yep.
Let's take a look at their schedule on Baseball Reference. Baseball Reference, by the way, pretty good website for baseball research. If they're not no free ads, but
Yeah. If you're looking to look into some baseball stats, go to Baseball Reference.
yeah, one of the better. And then and then you get
one of the big 3, really.
yeah, exactly.
If you're looking for more, go to Fangraphs, go to Baseball Savant.
Right. Yeah.
They're all pretty good.
Yeah. Sometimes we mention B War and F War. The B actually stands for Baseball Reference, and
Some people call it R War for Reference War.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Some people do that, but we over here at Above Replacement Radio, we don't usually do that.
Yeah. It's there's no real difference. Not that big of a deal. Everyone knows what it means.
Yeah. Yeah. Baltimore, they face the Angels for 3 games in Baltimore. Then they have the Rays. So
The Rays, of course.
if they got swept by both the Angels and the Rays, that would break the record. But I feel like they have a win against the Angels coming up. I should.
I do too. I think they take one from the Angels.
They
just got swept by Cleveland. Oh, we didn't even talk about the Little League Classic. That was pretty cool. I mean, I know they do it every year, but like having Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout mic'd up, that was good. Tristan McKenzie, same thing. Your guy Cal Quantrill dominated.
Yeah, it is cool when
Oh.
the 2 of the hottest commodities in Major League Baseball are able to be at that event. That's never happened before. Like Shohei Ohtani is the guy to pay attention to in the baseball world, and a bunch of aspiring baseball players, as young as 11 and 12 years old, were able to see him.
Dylan Bundy is making his return to Baltimore tonight.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
it's the Dylan Bundy revenge game.
And then Shohei Ohtani pitches on Wednesday, and then TBD on Thursday.
Yeah, the Orioles. Orioles have Watkins going tonight.
Spencer Watkins.
There's potential for a win there. I don't see it happening tomorrow night, and even on Thursday night, they've got that Keegan Aiken guy. I don't really trust that either. So maybe tonight is the night.
Yeah, Dylan Bundy was a slightly alarming of yours. Yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah, he made an exit out of the rotation and is now back. But I don't know, maybe Bundy, finds it in his heart to defeat the Orioles.
We'll have to see.
So yeah, if they keep losing, we'll probably address it again next episode because
we probably will.
They're sniffing that record.
They are.
All right. And yeah, this has got to be the long. I wonder the last time we had a losing streak this long.
It's been, I mean, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. So that means it's got to be bad.
MLB longest losing streaks. Taking a look here. List. We have a list here. Although there's a lot of pre-modern era ones. Like shout out to the Louisville Colonels of 1889. They lost. Where does it say their streak here? 26. They lost 26 in a row. But that is not the modern era. We're looking at the modern era record here. And the Phillies did that in 1961, 23 in a row is the modern era record. And the last time we saw 18 in a row, 2005. The Royals lost 19 in a row in 2005.
Yeah.
All right. So there we go. There we have it. So yeah, the Orioles have 2 more in a row to break the 21st century record. Obviously, something they're not trying to break. All right. So now we can get into our players to highlight for good and bad reasons. Let's get into the Tuesday, August 24th, 2021 edition of crap.
Would you miss the button?
I had it muted.
Oh.
So who are you looking at today?
So I have 2 how about that's on today, and they're both from teams that could use some uplifting. First of all, I am talking about Dalton Varsho from the Arizona Diamondbacks, who has been slashing 351, 435, 784 for an 1189 OPS with a 211 weighted runs created plus since July 20th. He is 5th in FWAR over that span, and he has a 1.8 FWAR, but he has 50 to 60 less plate appearances than everyone else around him in the rankings. So his WAR per 162 is probably better than everyone else. And the most impressive thing about him is that we've seen a lot of utility players become more of a norm in today's game. A lot of players can play several different positions, but Dalton Varsho is bringing a new meaning to utility players. This season, he has played 27 games at catcher, 6 games in left field, 18 games in center field, and 5 games in right field. And in baseball history, going back to 1871, this is the 22nd season where someone has played has played 5 games at least at all 4 of those positions. And among all 22 of those seasons, the last one to have an 800 OPS was Mike Grady in 1898. Dalton Varsho currently has an 812 OPS. Regardless of sample size, the last time anyone had a 800 OPS while playing all 4 of those positions at least 5 times in a season was Mike Grady in 1898. That's what we're looking at from Dalton Varsho.
Dalton Varsho.
How about that?
First
my
player in the modern era.
Yes. And my second how about that comes from the team we just talked about, the Baltimore Orioles. I promise Orioles fans, it is not all bad. Reliever Marcus Duplan has emerged in the losing streak. He made his debut on August 6th, which was during this 18-game losing streak. And since then, he has pitched in 7 games. He has 11 innings pitched, 2 hits allowed, 0 earned runs, 3 walks allowed, and 11 strikeouts. This means he has a 0.56 average against him with a 0.45 whip. And he is the first reliever in MLB history with 11 innings pitched, an average against below 0.6, and a walk percentage below 10% in his first 7 games. And he leads MLB in expected batting average with a 111, expected slugging with a 163, and expected WOBA with a 162 since the Orioles losing streak started. And that is minimum 150 pitches thrown. So Marcos Duplan has been the lone bright spot in Baltimore, and he's just been a regular bright spot in the league, regardless of where he's playing.
Marcos Duplan.
How about that?
Yeah, he's the one guy. One
That
guy.
was a very impromptu. How about that? I found that I usually try to plan out the how about that's like pretty like the night before each recording. I found that while I was getting numbers on the Orioles, I was like, oh, this guy is good actually.
Yeah, like I wonder what their ERA is without Diplon. Uh,
I mean,
like,
it's only 11 innings over 18 games. It can't be that
yeah, but
different.
it might be like in the upper eights without Diplon.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, two how about that's there. My how about that is not on a team that really needs uplifting. They've been pretty hot, and I guess he's been one of the catalysts of that. I'm looking at Dansby Swanson, who in his last 21 games is hitting 378 with an 1111 OPS. And in this span, out of the 162 qualifiers, he ranks fifth in average, fifth in on base percentage, fourth in slugging, fourth in OPS, second in RBI, and first in F WAR. Been the best player of the past 3+ weeks. And his hard hit rate and average exit velocity are actually down from where they were prior to this span. It's just that he's putting the ball in play more. And it's not where like he's getting it's not like his expected batting average is also low. It's just he's putting the ball in play way more. Before the span, his strikeout rate was 27.2%. And in the span, his strikeout rate is down to 11.0%. So he's cut it down by more than half. So Dansby Swanson.
How about that?
All right. So now we go from the highs to the lows, where we're talking about players or subjects that have been underperforming for our Monday, August 24th, 2021 edition of
Slightly alarming.
Who do you got for us today?
So my slightly alarming has been very streaky all season. This guy could have been a freeze over and a comeback special twice each. But I'm talking about Andrew McCutchen, who hasn't been playing well since he came off the IL with, I believe it was his left knee, his left arm or something like that. Either way, he was on the IL, and since then, since he came off on August 11th, he is slashing 103, 146, 205 for a 351 OPS, -7 weighted runs created plus. His 146 OBP is the worst among 170 qualifiers, and his 156 WOBA is second worst. And that's slightly alarming because even in the times where Andrew McCutchen has struggled this year, the one constant through his season has been walks. He's 96th percentile in walk rate. He has a 4.9 walk rate in this span. So he hasn't been getting the walks in like he has been all year. And that's been a detriment to an already bad slump. And his last game played in San Diego, which was on Saturday, was particularly bad as he went 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts, making his 39% K rate since August 11th, the 7th worst in baseball. Also, 5 strikeouts was a career high for him in a single game. And his average launch angle this year is 13 degrees, and his average launch angle during the slump is 19 degrees. So he's hitting the ball in the air a lot more. I believe he has 4 pop-ups with a launch angle above 50 degrees. So that is not very good.
Yeah, Andrew McCutchen.
Slightly alarming.
You speak on someone who has been streaky, and my slightly alarming is someone who definitely has been streaky. This is probably the fastest turnaround we've seen in terms of like freeze over or ARR comeback special. I'm taking another how about that of yours and freezing it over, but I'm talking about Harrison Bader. In his last 22 games, he's hitting 171 with a 412 OPS, and I don't like doing this also because he was actually my player to watch. So this just makes me look
Your players to watch have been tough.
Yeah, they have. It's not going to get worse than Tim LeCastro, that's for sure. I mean, yeah, Bader, he's been streaky. He's on the bad end of streaky players right now. Last 22 games hitting 171 with a 412 OPS. Also in the span, he ranks last in slugging and OPS among qualifiers. And one of the things that made him a how about that of yours was his career low 15% strikeout rate. But in this span of 22 games, his strikeout rate is back up to 30.8%. It's more than doubled. So kind of back to his old ways in this bad streak of things. And also what's been pretty alarming from Harrison Bader is out of the 168 hitters with 50 plus batted balls since this span started, he has the second lowest line drive rate. And you may think, who might have a lower line drive rate than Harrison Bader? That man is Miguel Cabrera, who, I don't know if you know this, but may have been trying to hit some fly balls over the past month. Miguel Cabrera has, so maybe not focused on the line drives as much. He's the only guy with a lower line drive rate out of 168 batters since July 28th. So Harrison Bader striking out a lot, not hitting a lot of line drives, getting a slightly alarming and a freeze over. So Harrison Bader.
Slightly alarming.
So yeah, that does it for players or subjects to highlight for good or bad reasons. Now we get into a preview of the week ahead. This is on a Tuesday, so I mean we didn't miss that much on Monday.
No.
I guess one thing I guess you could address is I think the Yankees and Braves are having like a historic matchup because of how streaky they've been or whatever.
Yeah, they were the first team since 1901 to face each other with 9-game win streaks.
Yeah, that's crazy. The Yankees won that affair last night, and they're playing one more tonight. And then series to look over. We have, I think it's kind of funny how different things have shaped up since their last time meeting each other. But you can't forget about Dodgers Padres.
Yep.
It's gone very differently. I should maybe if I prepared before, I could have gotten the like their place in the standings in the last time they met, but I think they were battling it out for the NL West the last time they faced each other, but very different now. Also something to look out for, and I believe Dodgers Padres is going to be a 3-game series, and most of the pitching matchups are undetermined, I believe. And then you have Brewers Reds, which, Brewers are pretty safe at the top of the National League Central and are probably fighting for a 1 seed possibly. But then the Reds, as we've mentioned, one of the hottest teams in baseball and fighting for that wild card spot currently. So that should be a good matchup. That's going to be happening at American Family Field tonight. You have a very good pitching matchup. Wednesday night, you have another very good pitching matchup. You have some matchups going on here. So
Yeah, we do.
Daniel's going to be getting into those. And any other series to look out for? I don't really think so.
I mean, White Sox Blue Jays is pretty good.
Yeah, White Sox Blue Jays is pretty interesting. Actually, something I'm probably more intrigued in is, or actually, that series is ending today. It looks like is A's Mariners, but I think that's ending today. So
yeah,
that's not really upcoming. What do you have for day-by-day matchups?
So, for day-by-day matchups, on Tuesday, Tanner Houck is pitching for the Red Sox, the right-handed Chris Sale. You have Chris Flexen versus Cole Irvin, the classic don't throw it above 91 miles per hour game. That's going to be a good one. You have Dylan Bunny making his return to Baltimore, as we mentioned earlier. Madison Bumgarner pitching in Pittsburgh for the Diamondbacks. Ranger Suarez, one of my how about that's, pitching for the Phillies against the Rays. You have Charlie Morton pitching for the Braves against the Yankees. You have Casey Mize versus Jack Flaherty in Tigers and Cardinals. That's a good matchup you should pay attention to. You have Herman Marquez versus Justin Steele going against each other in Rockies Cubs. That'll be at Wrigley. Tyler Mahle versus Corbin Burns in Milwaukee. That'll be a good one. But the matchup of the night, it comes to us from White Sox Blue Jays. Dylan Cease versus Jose Barrios, two guys who faced each other a lot when they were in division, and they're going off again. So then on Wednesday, you have Lance McCullers Jr. going for the Astros against the Royals. You have Shohei Ohtani possibly looking to make it 20 in a row for the Orioles in Baltimore. Zach Wheeler is going to be going for the Phillies. You have Giolito versus Ray in White Sox Blue Jays. That'll be a good matchup. You have Josiah. Oh, this is one I'm excited for. Josiah Gray versus Edward Cabrera in Nationals versus Marlins. If you don't know, Edward Cabrera is making his major league debut. He's the number 30 overall prospect in baseball, according to MLB.com. Josiah Gray has been featured on Pitching Ninja a lot. He's been pitching pretty well for the Nationals. He came over in the Max Scherzer, Trey Turner deal. That's going to be a fun one to watch. You have Johnny Cueto versus Taijuan Walker in Giants versus Mets. You also have Walker Buehler versus Blake Snell in Dodgers Padres. Matchup of the night comes from Reds Brewers. You have Luis Castillo versus Brandon Woodruff. That is going to be a good one. And then on Thursday, not a lot is really announced. You have Chris Sale going for the Red Sox. You have Hyunjin Ryu going for the Blue Jays against the White Sox. You have Sonny Gray and Brett Anderson with the exact same earned run average going against each other in Reds Brewers. Max Scherzer going for the Dodgers against the Padres. Matchup of the night, I guess, as of right now, this is probably subject to change, but Alex Wood versus Carlos Carrasco in Giants Mets. Just, two names at least, but really not a lot is announced. I'm sure there's probably going to be better matchups that are yet to be announced.
Right. So yeah, that does it for today's episode. We hope you enjoyed this one. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and want to watch the conversation as it happens, go to our YouTube channel and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It is called Above Replacement Radio. Also, if you want to follow us on social media, follow me on Twitter at Chris_Gianta, and follow Daniel on both Twitter and Instagram at Daniel_Curran, and follow the show on Instagram at Above Replacement Radio for all the show needs. And we hope you enjoyed this one, and we hope to see you on Friday, where we will be talking about all the happenings in Major League Baseball. Once again, see you then.
This conversation is over.